Hey, good morning. Guess what? It is day 98 of the 100-day challenge. Yeah, 98. We made it this far. And it is our last live video of the 100-day challenge. And, how better to close out this crazy 100 days that we've been doing since June 25th than with a three-time Olympic gold medalist? Yeah, you heard me right. You know, I'm a sports nut. And we are honoring her along with all the other ladies in just a few days, 2 days to be honest. Thursday, we start this mad event. Friday, we do the awards. Where, you may ask? Brendan Theater, inside the Palms Hotel and Casino. Yeah, that's our home right there. That screen is 47 feet wide. You know, I'm going to have a blast on that screen. We're going to be absolutely nuts. Every seat's going to be filled for the awards. We're not only honoring, we're also awarding. We have the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Awards happening. That same evening, 6 women are going to be honored that night. 6 women that have made amazing contributions to the planet and to human life in its entirety. You do not want to miss that. We've got the Honor Guard kicking it off, the actual Honor Guard. Yeah, we called the military and said, why not? Can you come over? They said, absolutely. And then right following on Friday night, the Presidential Lifetime Achievement, the 2024 class. We're going to welcome the class of 2024 into the Now family, including this young lady who I have been waiting to talk to since June 25th. Oh, yeah. Guess what? Leah Amico is in the house. 3-time gold medalist for softball, ESPN analyst. Yes, she's in the Hall of Fame, y'all. And not only is she in the Hall of Fame, she's an academic legend too. What? And she's here right now. Hey, Leah, what's happening?
Hi, I'm so excited to be here with you. I love what you're doing and all that is happening, especially for women making huge contributions.
Oh my goodness. I got goosebumps. I got to tell you. I met you at Secret Knock earlier this year
Hmm.
in March, and I literally chased you down on the stairs. I
You
know you thought I was
you-
crazy. It was like I said, she can't get away. I literally chased you down the stairs and said, I know this is going to sound crazy, but I want to honor you in October. And why did you say yes? Because you knew me from no one. And you said, yes, call me. Here's the card.
Yeah, it's funny. I think that's how I've had so many opportunities to do so many different things because I'm always willing to listen and I want to hear what, people are saying and what they're doing, how they're making a difference in their own area of expertise. And so I figured you were pretty safe if you were at Secret Knock. I mean, I've made a lot of really good connections through the years with Greg Reed and the people he brings in and the people that attend. It just feel like just mentally are trying to like figure out how do we continue to grow, how do we continue to impact others. And so that is why I was like, yeah, give me your information and let's talk about it for sure.
Yeah, I give shouts out to Greg Reed and, and the whole Secret Knock family because, we wouldn't be doing this without him. I,
Mhm.
I was invited 3+ years ago to come to Secret Knock. And now I'm a lifetime member and I love going. And we were just did the Secret Knock Las Vegas, but he's introduced and opened so many doors for me and said, go talk to that person. Have you talked to this person? Don't be afraid to ask them, because 2 years ago I would have said, oh man, I got to find somebody to introduce me to her. Greg's like, are you kidding me? The
Yeah.
opportunity is now. 3 feet from gold. Get your butt over there. And,
Yes.
chase you down on the stairs. Why not?
No,
You know?
it's true. I love it. I've loved, I met him so many years ago at a different event I was at through, a mutual friend. And he was like, hey, I have these things. He did some interviews with me and then he had started doing the secret knocks. So through the years, I've been to a number of them. Sometimes I'm like, man, I'm traveling. I'm not gonna be able to make it. I was out of town when you guys had the Las Vegas one as well. But just, yeah, really thankful for Greg as well.
So let's talk about, 3-time Olympic gold medalist for softball. And we just had the Olympics a couple of months ago. Do you still watch it? And when you watch it, are you sitting there watching softball going, no? Are you still a part of that family?
Yes, no, I still do watch it. I was traveling in Poland actually. I coach internationally now for Team Israel. I just help out their younger programs, their 18s and 22. So I was actually in Poland for the second half of the Olympics. Softball's not in the Olympics, sadly, right now. It's not in this last Olympics in Paris. It will be back in LA in 2028. It was also in Japan, in Tokyo. And so, of course, I was watching it. I was, my family, we had like a watch party. We had, our flags and our face paintings and our USA stuff and family over just to support because I just remember what it was like to represent our country on that field and just knowing and feeling the support of everyone. And so for me, I was like, I'm here for it. And so I'm very excited that in 2028 softball will be back in.
Yeah, that is amazing. And I played softball when I was in the Navy. I'm a disabled Navy vet. And I got to ask you, first time when you first found out you're going to the Olympics, what was that moment like?
Yeah, I was 21. I was just about to turn 21 and I think I just was, like, in shock a little bit. Actually, it's just kind of a funny story of how we used to do things. They literally posted we were at a chat with about 50 something women, and they said, "Okay, tomorrow morning, there's gonna be a list on the door," and nobody could sleep that night. And a couple of my teammates from the University of Arizona, came and they knocked on my door, and they told me and my roommate I was rooming with another friend, and they said, "You both made the team." And they did not make it, the 2 of them. So it was like this moment of, like, you wanted to celebrate, but you also know, like, there were
Mm,
people there that in that moment they lost their dreams, and these are my close friends and my teammates from college. So I was just really like taking it in, like, is this real? And then when I called my parents from the hotel room, I think that was where it like really set in of like, it's real, like it's really going to happen. And then the next day after everybody else had flown home, the team stayed together. They announced us all together at, press conference, and that was when I just like, "Okay, this is really happening." And
wow.
then not long after that, went to Southern California to compete as Team USA as the actual Olympic team for the first time.
Wow. So, okay, we have to get to mom because, the parents. I know that, when I got a gold star in elementary school, my mother told all the neighbors. So I can't imagine what your mother did when she found out her child was about to play in the Olympics. What did mom and dad do?
Well, I think it was, like, their excitement that actually, like, allowed me to get more excited. Like I said, you're kind of reserved because you have others around you that have not made the team, but I think their excitement allowed me to then just, like, almost like, "Oh my gosh," express it, like, "This is amazing, it's everything I've been working toward, and it's really real now, like, the team has been named." And so, she was so, so happy, so excited, and honestly, both my parents, just my biggest supporters throughout my career. And I know that's so I have to tell you really quick because fast forward a year, we go to the Olympics, we end up winning, and on the gold medal podium, as the medal was being placed around my neck, as soon as it was, we were in Atlanta, Georgia. I turned right to they were over first base dugout, my mom and dad, my sister, and my brother, and I just waved in their direction. And I literally just knew, like, if it wasn't for them and all their support and them sacrificing
Mm.
a lot for me to follow my dreams, like, I wouldn't have been here. And so to me, like, that is what it was about. It was like the people behind me that allowed me to then follow my dreams.
Yeah, my business partner, one of our business partners, Ann Anders, she's been a partner of mine since like the late 90s. We've been taking this journey. And she just posted that her granddaughter wants to play in the Olympics. Her granddaughter is an amazing athlete. And she's been focused, I think, since she got out of the crib. I mean, she really loves to play. So I know she'll probably watch this interview and go, oh, wow. What would you tell a young person that has that dream, male or female, that has that dream of one day standing on the podium, whatever sport it may be?
Yeah, well, there's nothing that can replace passion and drive. And when you have that internal motivation and those big goals, like I just believe, like go after with all your heart, like put in the time. You have to be dedicated. You have to sacrifice. I found over time the sacrifices, what I got from the sacrifice was actually better than even what I gave up. And so, but there were choices that had to be made of like, I am choosing to lose some time with friends when I was younger to go train and to go practice and to go to a tournament. And for me, I loved being on the field. I loved competing. I could not get enough of it. And so for me, I think just like you have to like have very clear goals. Like so for me, as I got a little bit older, like it was make the high school team first when I was going to high school, and then varsity, make varsity, and then eventually it was make, get a college scholarship. And then softball was not
Mm.
in the Olympic Games when I was younger, but when I got to college, they added it. And that's where literally that goal and that dream was like, I am making this team. So I love these young athletes now that can look up and say, that is the goal. That's where I'm going to be. Many Olympians, you find out that that's literally that was their goal since they were little. And then you see it come to fruition. So it is powerful to keep that goal in your forefront of your mind, and what you do all aligns with like it's heading me in that direction.
You mentioned that your family was so supportive of your journey, even back when before you even hit the Olympics, when you first found out and before. How important is it to have a support team, whether it's family, friends, neighbors, somebody to support you on your journey?
Yeah, you have to. You have to have that. I just think we go so much farther together with people around us. I think some people have it built in and others they got to find it other places, but I truly believe like I've come across people that I've been like any support I can give, any help, any advice, any ways that I can help out, let me know. I would love to. I had a 12-year-old come up to me. She was already tagged as like a top player in the country, and she with tears in her eyes, she said, "What do you do if you don't have the support of your family?" And that just broke my heart because I was like, oh, some people don't have it built in, and they have to learn to do it despite. But I really believe there's coaches out there, there's teachers out there that can pour into you, that you can grasp onto their belief and their support system, and you can find people that want to help you win. I mean, Teresa, you talked about that even with Greg and what you're doing. Like there are people out there that know how to win, they want to see others win, and they will help you win. And I feel like that even for young ones, it's harder, right? I think, but if you have just wisdom from, people around you and other adults, maybe it's a friend's parent. I know friends who have
Mm.
stepped in and been that type of pseudo parent for kids to be able to give more opportunities. So I do believe it's out there, but for some, you have to work a little harder for that.
Yeah, my brother is our producer, Alan, and him and his wife were like the team parents. They had the big car, and they could take their son, my nephew, to all the games. And, if somebody didn't have something or somebody needed support, they were the parent unit in the environment. And I'm like, how do you do this? Because they're traveling all over the place. He's now grown and, thinks he's grown. He's not yet, but he thinks he's grown. He's 20-ish, but he's out there
Okay.
doing his own thing. But they supported him, pretty much from the crib. What do you want to do? Where do you want to go? Bring your friends with you. Let's go. And I thought that was amazing because my dad was like, I know everybody marches to a different drummer, but what exactly band plays in your head? He could never get where I was going with things. So having
Mhm.
somebody in your corner, I had coaches and mentors still do that believed in me and
Yeah.
kept pushing me down the road. But I always ask about fear. At least I try to. And if you're an athlete, failure and fear, you're going to lose at some point. Even Michael Jordan missed quite a few times. How do you handle fear and failure as an athlete?
Yeah, I'll look, this is obviously much later, but when I was on Team USA, I had a really bad day and I called my college coach, who eventually was my last Olympic coach, but I'd called him up after just a rough day. I'm with all these superstars. And obviously this is later in my career. And I'll never forget, he said, Leah, he said, your ability to succeed and thrive at this elite level, because now it's another level internationally, he said, it's going to be determined by how well you handle your failure and how quickly you can bounce back and learn the lesson and move forward. And so I had done that at the different levels, right? I was stubborn. I was like, you beat me right now. You're not beating me again. So I would use like that mindset and that fight that I had of like, I had these super, super high expectations of myself. So if I didn't meet them, then I was like, I got to be better. What I have to do, what's going to be the thing? And so I think like the higher the situation, the bigger the moment, I feel like that's when like the less thinking and the more just like get into competition mode and give everything you have. And it would help me in those moments. But then as I got higher level, better athletes around me, when I wasn't doing well, I felt like it exposed like so much of like, like how am I going to do it in this moment? And so I had to like take a step back and think, you've got to learn the lessons and I've got to learn them quickly. It's all about adjusting, right? And what happens is at the highest level, and this has helped me in my just personal life and everything I've done since then, it was like, how long does it take you to make the adjustment? Sometimes it might take people game to game if you're an athlete, right? But then what if
Right.
it's like inning to inning, or what if it's pitch to pitch? And that was the key to be at that level, was like, I've got to download information. I've got to have clarity of my thought, and I've got to say, what do I have to do? And so when I talk to people, I talk about failing forward fast, because failure is really only failure if you give up. But if you take the lesson, then you're moving forward with it. And then how fast can you do it? And I really believe that's seeing the problem, finding a solution, and putting it into action.
Absolutely. I'm a humongous WNBA fan. Basketball is crazy. And right now they're in the playoffs and I'm in Vegas. So we're huge Aces fans. And they lost their
Yeah.
first game in the semifinals, right? And I'm sitting there going, huh. How do you as a player, when you're in the playoffs, how do you get your mind right to get back on that field? Even if you lost the first game or you're down one or something, how do you go, you know what? It's not over till we say it's over. How do you get your head there?
Yeah, you have to not let your emotions lead you. I mean, ultimately, like, you have to, like, get back to task and, like, what is the game plan? And if your emotions get involved, it can really get you off your game, right? And it can get you stuck in, like, what's going wrong instead of, like, what do we need to do right? And as an athlete, like, that's literally it. What am I telling myself? And is it in negative tone or positive? Because I can think about, don't do that. That's not how you're not gonna be successful like that. You need to say, what are we trying to do? How do we stay there? And we talked about, I won a lot of championships, won 3 national championships at University of Arizona. And we were saying, like, you have to go in and you have to do things right, and you have to play at the high level, and you got to be peaking at the right time. And then you got to have a little luck too. That's the reality of it. Sometimes the ball just needs to bounce in your favor and bounce your way. And so, just that reality of like controlling the controllables is what we said a lot with Arizona and Team USA. But that idea of like, what is the game plan? And like, again, and so actually in my second Olympics, we lost 3 games in 3 days. That had never happened to USA softball. To lose one
Ooh.
game was a big deal, but two of them, the first 2 games were on airs. The third one, we finally went ahead in like the 13th inning against Australia, and all we had to do was get 3 outs, and they hit a home run, and they had a runner on. They beat us 2-1. So we're like, what is going on? And one of the things that I saw was you have got to, in those moments, have people within, not just the coaches. There have got to be players when you're part of a team that are going to be the unifiers and are going to speak encouragement and build people up in those hard times, than pointing fingers and getting negative and letting emotions rule you. Because I'll tell you, the first time we lost, I think everyone was in shock. The second time, you saw the fingers starting to be pointed. And then the third game, we all came together and we had to like lay down any of that and just say, what is it going to take for us to unify? What are we all bringing to the table? We have each other's backs, and let's go into battle and not let this happen again. And we went on to win the gold medal. And so you really have got to have those people. And I feel like throughout, especially my collegiate career and then a little bit with Team USA, but like we had really strong leaders on Team USA, but I feel like I was that person. Like I was a unifier. I was like sensitive to like where people were at and trying to just be the one to like encourage them and lift them up. And we have to have that in the heat of battle. You have to have those believers, those people that are like, let's go, we got this, and encouragers, because in intensity, right? And in the passion, and when things aren't going your way, that's when the junk can come out. And that's where our character gets displayed a little bit. So it's those that can speak life and encouragement and truth and forward thinking in those moments that when it's needed most.
You mentioned, 2 times. You did it again. You did it 3 times. And other people say, oh, yeah, 3 championships. Well, I mentioned the WNBA. 3 championships is 3 years, not in the
Yeah.
Olympics. 3 championships, you're talking 12 years of your life to dedicate, and all the years before and since. What was that journey to keep you 12 years? I mean, you're talking over a decade of literally focusing on, let's go to the next one. And then you get the third gold medal. Do you go, yep, of course, well, we got it, I'm going home now? Or do you just stand there and just take that in?
Oh, I took it in. That's actually a picture of us on the podium right there for my last one. And I did not want to leave. I knew this was it. I knew I was 29. So, it was three different seasons of life, literally during, like you talked about, you span that much time. So my first one, I was in college. I actually took a year off. So that was like not even a big deal. I went straight from my college team to Team USA. It was good. It was fine. I was young. You have all this belief, like everything's easy. And then I graduate college and it's like, okay, I have to try to stay world class and try to maintain my training with not having a team around me. Who is going to be the team now when I'm not with my team? Because we would just meet up. We'd have some training camps here or there. We'd meet in the summer and compete. Well, how am I going to prepare? I'm these college players like I used to have 60 something games in the season that they're coming in prepared. So I had to start finding people. I found a strength coach that helped me to be able to stay at that elite level that would push me and give me a workout that kept me there, not just on my own. I'll just figure this out. Then I had there was a coach at a local college who would come out and she would just hit me balls and she would do some hitting with me. She would help see things from an outside perspective. And then, I would find men's pitchers because men's like fast pitch, like they can really move the ball. And I knew, okay, if I'm going to keep trying to succeed against the best, I have to have somebody that can match or even be better than their level. So I'm prepared to go right when it starts, not, oh, it's going to take me, 2 weeks to get back into the swing of things. And so I had to expand that team. That was hard. And then my last one, I was a mom. I had my son. I wanted to be a mom. My husband and I were married between the first two Olympics. So I had my son right after I won my second gold medal, took a year off, and then started training harder than ever. I got in the best shape of my
Wow.
life. I ended up going back. They moved me back to first base from outfield, and we ended up winning my third gold medal when my son was 3 years old. Now that was even harder because number one, I mean, I busted it the first 6 to 8 months after having him, and once I got my physical shape back, that was good. And then I had to get the reps back again, and started doing that. But then it became the challenge of like babysitting and finding someone to watch him and then picking him up afterwards. And then when I traveled, who's going to watch him? So, oh, you talk about like that was harder, but I'll say it prepared me for life after the Olympics, because after that, I feel like I can do anything. Like,
Oh,
I
I
can,
bet. I
I
bet.
can juggle all of it.
I bet. And then, we got to talk about academics because not only are you a superstar in sports, three-time, All American, but you're also three-time All American for academics as well. How important is that, having that balance? And your mom, how important is it to pass that on? If your son says, I just want to play sports, do you say, right after homework?
My mom was just my biggest supporter and my biggest fan. And honestly, like I really credit my relationship with her like throughout so much of my journey. She was what I needed her to be when I needed it. She was my soft place to land. She was my encourager. She was just my supporter. She was the one that would listen to me. She would give me really sound advice. Like honestly, like I mean, my freshman year of college, I called her and was like, I don't think I have what it takes. I had really bad practice, and she just spoke life and like reminders, like just keep going, learn from it, you got this. And so I really credit a lot of my success to my mom and my relationship with her. The academic piece, it's funny, I never felt smart. I never felt smart. I think I just compared what I didn't have, right? And like I don't have a great memory, but I stinking will work so hard. And I feel like it like mirrored my journey on the softball field. Like eventually I came up against people who are stronger than me, faster than me. Some of them have more talent than me, but I don't know that any of them would outwork me. And it was the same thing in the classroom. Like I would hear some of these students that were great athletes as well, and they'd be like, "Oh, I'm not going to class," or "Oh, I'm not," and I was like, "What? Like you're not going to class? Like could you?" And I realized like it just was ingrained in me that I had to do everything that was placed before me. Maybe because I'm a rule follower, I don't know. But I saw that hard work pays off, and that if you will give all that you have, for someone like me who didn't feel like I didn't have this amazing memory, I ended up becoming a three-time first team academic All-American. I didn't realize how big of a deal that was. I was doing some research on my coach recently, and out of 30 something years of him coaching at Arizona softball, I was the only three-time academic All-American. Here's what's funny.
Wow.
My roommate of college, I love her. She was the only two-time academic All-American. And then there were like
Wow.
five or six that were a one-time. That's it. Out of all his years coaching. So I was like, I was in shock when I saw that because in my mind, if I can do it, everyone can do it. And honestly, Teresa, everyone probably can do it, but I don't think that everyone will work for it. And for
Yeah, it's
me,
the work,
that
right?
to me, that's everything. That is everything that has led to any of my success.
You're amazing. I mean, you're in the National Softball Hall of Fame. Did you pinch yourself when that happened? Where were you when you found out?
Yeah, no, I don't even remember where I was, but I'm gonna tell you, these are things I used to say. I would see someone else get this award and I go, one day I really hope that I can be in the Hall of Fame like them. And it happened so much earlier than I expected. I might have been, let me think. I was like in my early 30s, early to mid 30s. I retired at almost 30 at 29. So it was only like maybe like 4 years afterwards or something like
Wow.
that. Um, but this is the thing, Teresa, that I think is so powerful. In order to be in the Hall of Fame, even considered for it, somebody has to nominate you. And then
Mm,
they vote on it, right? And they bring what you've done to the table and they try to see. And you have to, I guess people send letters. And so looking back, like I've just seen throughout my journey, and this is where I talk about the gold standard because I won 3 gold medals, but it's so much bigger than this. I have found that people will literally be an advocate for you. They will be your referral service when you
hmm.
do things in a way that not only allows you to elevate, but ultimately lifts everyone around you. And that, I'll be
Absolutely.
honest, I look at that and I think of like, eventually who I heard had put me in for a nomination and it was a teammate of mine. It wasn't even a coach and so I just thought, wow, like I thank God for those blessings for sure. Like I know God has like guided me and directed me, but it's the people he's placed around me. And I cannot stress enough. Like, I think that is such a massive part of our journey is who we're surrounded by and then who we're impacting in our lives.
You mentioned the gold standard, and you have a book out, right? It's on Amazon, The Gold Standard. What's that book about?
Yeah, it's a book. It's a book about impact and it's a book about how you show up every day. What I realized throughout my journey, and I've been talking a little bit about this, was a lot of times we look at leaders as someone in a position or a role. They have a title attached to their name. But I look back and I'm like, wait a second, though. I came onto my college team and I earned a starting role and I played a really big part of us winning the first national championship that I was a part of. It was only Arizona's second ever. And so I didn't come in like guaranteed something. Instead, I worked so hard and I earned it and earned respect from those around me. And so this book, The Gold Standard, is all about like this journey that I took, like these key points that I've applied as a commentator with ESPN, doing a sports show years ago on Trinity Broadcasting Network, speaking all over the country, now speaking to corporate America as well. These key points that I really believe success is simple. It is not easy, but it's simple steps. I think sometimes we complicate it, but it's things like who you surround yourself with. So I detail in this book kind of the goal and how you get directed towards your goals and the important parts of setting a plan and who you surround yourself with. And then the mindset piece is absolutely crucial. There are a lot of talented people out there that just they lack that and it holds them back in a big way. So I talk about mindset. I talk about the leadership aspect of how we show up every day, leading by example, the way we communicate,
Hmm.
the relationships we have. And then I also talk about the discipline piece and the sacrifice and ultimately like recognizing that in this point in life and where you are, can you just enjoy where you're at? Because I think if we get looking too far ahead because we're driven and we want these goals, we're going to miss out on the beauty of what's happening right now. And so I just feel like I bring all that together and I just talk about the ripple effect of positive impact that takes place when people like walk in their strengths and they do things the right way and they have a desire to strive for excellence, not outcome based, but ultimately process based.
I know I have to let you go, and I don't want to. I'm going to tell you right now, I've been looking forward to talking to you for months. I don't want to, but I've got to ask you, you've done it all and you're still doing it, 3-time Olympic gold medalist, you're You've been on ESPN, you've had your own shows, you're speaking on stages, you're an author. What's just over the hill? What's next? What's the next goal for you?
Okay, so this is what's funny. I feel like I'm almost in this new season and the potential is just unlimited. My youngest son is a senior. I actually, Teresa, was a homeschool mom for 13 years, all the while doing
Wow.
these little speaking and, still some softball stuff and impacting there and taking softball teams overseas. I mean, I got to do all these things all the while being mom first and foremost because I have three sons, but I knew my parents and their impact, and I wanted to be able to pour into them and say, what are your goals? What are your dreams? So with my son, my youngest graduating in this next year, I just feel like for me, like I'm ready. I've never marketed. I've been as busy as I could be. And so I really feel like I want to just let people know my number one goal personally right now is that here in Southern California, I would try to get the word out of what I do. I travel all over, but I feel like I've never even tapped into my local market. And I would love to start making some
Wow.
connections here locally. And even, where you live in Vegas, it's not far at all. Arizona, I'm always going to the South and the East Coast. And so my next goal ultimately is to continue to let companies I'm having a couple opportunities to speak nationally with some companies, and I want to grow that as well.
You're amazing. I want to thank you for, letting me literally just approach you on a stair in the middle of an event. I think you're fantastic. I cannot wait to honor you as our legend of sports in just a couple of days. I don't know what to tell you. I've been looking forward to this interview pretty much since we decided to do the 100-day challenge. I was telling Alan, oh, I hope she can do it. And when you said I can make October 1st happen, I'm like, what a better way. There is no better way to wrap up this 100-day challenge interviews than with you. Thanks for hanging out with me today.
Thank you so much, and just keep making an impact. You're living out the gold standard. That's what it's about. It's about using your platform and where you are and making an impact. It does not take a title. It just takes heart and passion and doing things the right way. So thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, everybody. I know you enjoyed that episode. I know I did. That was over the moon. I hope you'll come back next time. And yep, that's tomorrow. We're going to do a recap. The event is in 2 days. The 100-day challenge will wrap with me standing on the stage at the Brendan Theaters. Yeah, kicking off the Power of Pink and the Now Honors and welcoming the class of 24. I'm Tigo, and I'll talk to you next time. Have a great day.